What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I want to talk about the Bitcoin Golden Cross. Now, you may remember a few videos back, we actually made a video on the DXY Death Cross, which is the opposite of a Golden Cross. And it does kind of make sense that we had a Death Cross on the daily for the DXY recently, and we are now seeing a Golden Cross on Bitcoin. As you guys know, the DXY does move inverse to Bitcoin. And for this reason, it's not a total shocker that we're seeing this Golden Cross pop up very soon after the DXY Death Cross, but I hear a lot of people talking about this Golden Cross, so I just wanted to make this video to kind of inform you guys about what the Golden Cross is. Should we be feeling super bullish, or is it just kind of one of those signals that is completely blown out of proportion? So I just want to break down exactly what these Golden Crosses are, and then we're going to go back in the chart. I've actually marked out previous Golden Crosses on Bitcoin, and we'll take a look at how these have actually played out in the past, so we can try to figure out how much weight we should actually put on this bullish signal. But before we get into it, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of these awesome pre-recorded videos or urgent market updates that we upload to the channel. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, let's go ahead and talk about what a Golden Cross actually is. Now, a Golden Cross is just when you have the 50-period moving average crossing above the 200-period moving average, and in this case for Bitcoin, this is happening on the daily time frame. Now, if you guys remember back to that DXY Death Cross video, we actually had this exact opposite thing happen on the DXY, and if you guys watch the channel, you will know since we pointed out that Death Cross on the DXY, it was essentially the start of a big move down for the DXY, and actually, it almost called the very beginning of this big move up that we've seen in Bitcoin over the past few weeks. So these Death Crosses and Golden Crosses can actually hold some weight, but I just wanted to make this video again to kind of break down how often these actually play out by going back in time and actually taking a look at them, because they don't always signal an automatic rip to the upside. As a matter of fact, a lot of them actually result in an initial dump to the downside of some pretty sizable percentages before actually getting a bigger move up. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump into those charts. We'll take a look at the actual Golden Cross, and then we'll go back in time and again go check out how these have behaved in the past so we can know how much weight we should actually put on this signal. Let's get into it. So here we are, guys, on the Bitcoin daily chart. Now, as you can see, as I zoom out here, I actually have these vertical lines on my chart. Now, what these vertical lines actually are is they are actually marking out previous Golden Crosses we've had in the past, and I've actually color-coded them to show you guys and give you kind of an idea of how many of these actually wind up resulting in an immediate move to the upside and how many of them actually result in a move to the downside, just so, again, we could kind of put the odds in our favor to see how much weight we should actually put on this. Now, like I said, guys, when you have a Golden Cross, this happens when you have the 50-period moving average crossing over your longer term moving average, which in this case is the 200-day. So you have that 50-day coming up and crossing over that 200-day, and this is what they call the Golden Cross. I guess I should have made this vertical line gold and not green, but I just made them green. As you can see here, guys, this is actually what everyone's talking about. I know you probably hear a lot of people on YouTube or Twitter talking about, oh my god, Golden Cross on the daily time frame. This is what they're talking about. It's just these two moving averages crossing, and specifically the 50-period crossing over the 200. I want to go ahead and come back in time and look at the last time that we actually had one of these Golden Crosses occur. You can see this actually happened back in September of 2021, and this was the most recent Golden Cross that we've actually had. And you can see here that the reason I marked this one red is because, yes, this Golden Cross did actually result in a little bit of a move to the upside, but that was just before a bigger move back to the downside, and this move to the downside was actually pretty sizable, coming in at about almost 20%, about 19% of a move to the downside. And you can see once you had that Golden Cross, you got that little 7 or 7.5% move to the upside before that 20% drop. So in this case, this Golden Cross did actually result in an immediate move up, but it was a pretty small move followed by a giant dump. However, it did actually in the longer term result in a macro trend change as we got this giant move to the upside. So in short, for this first example, Yes, we did get an immediate move up, and yes, this did result in a big move to the upside in the long run. However, you did have this 20% drop come in, and the reason I wanted to point this out is because I think a lot of people out there kind of just think that that's it, golden cross, bull runs back on, I missed the bottom, I gotta dump all my money in here, and I want to warn you guys that you don't want to necessarily do that. Now, could this result in an absolute moonshot? Absolutely, anything can happen. You want to remember that, but just be prepared that, everybody was probably thinking the same thing right here. Everyone was thinking, oh my God, we're going to make another high. We're going to get a new all-time high. This is where we're going to get 100K. And you got this little pop up followed by a 20% dump. And then eventually it did come to the upside. So now I also don't want to take away from the legitimacy of the golden crosses because they do tend to work out more often than not in general. You could see, obviously, we did wind up trending back to the upside, but it just never really means an immediate move up. So just wanted to warn you guys about that. And if we come back here, this is actually an example of another golden cross that we had back here in May of 2020. And again, as soon as you get this golden cross to happen, you actually continue down a little bit. But if you actually zoom out, you can see once you had that golden cross, it was essentially the start of your 2021 bull run. Well, I guess some of this happened in 2020. So this is actually an example of it playing out a little bit better. But again, something to remember is it did not result in an immediate move to the upside. It actually resulted in an immediate move to the downside before making an actual macro shift to the upside. And here we go. Here is another example of a golden cross that really just didn't play out at all. You can see this is back in 2019. This was after our fake out bull run in 2019 up to about 14K. And then we came back down a little bit. And after we corrected from this big move up, you can see we kind of bottomed out right here. And on our way back up, we finally got a golden cross right here on the daily time frame with that 50-period moving average flipping over that 200-day moving average. And what happened, guys? An immediate dump to the downside. Now, obviously, this is the daily chart, so this dump actually did take quite a bit of time here. And, it took about 25 days, almost a month of this dump here. But you can see you got that golden cross right about here. This line is actually off slightly, just right on this candle is where it basically crossed over. And you could see it actually resulted in about a 60% move to the downside, right? So you're thinking golden cross, oh my God, the bull run's coming, and then boom, absolute drop to the downside. Now, something to remember here is this was March of 2020. I think we all know what was going on back then. So this was obviously a black swan event. So you want to keep that in mind too. Obviously, it doesn't matter how many golden crosses you have. If something crazy like what happened in March 2020 happens, obviously the markets are going to react to that regardless of the golden cross. However, again, nothing saying that we're not going to get a black swan coming here very soon. Not saying it's definitely coming, but you would just want to be prepared, right? Just because it's golden cross. I think a lot of people out there, especially anyone new to the market, is just thinking, oh my God, golden cross, it's moon time. And I just want to point out that that is not always the case. Actually, likely that it's not going to be instant moon time, as we saw back here. A lot of times we do actually get a little move to the downside, even if it does play out like this golden cross did. But sometimes they just don't play out at all because we absolutely had a dump here, and then we actually had a death cross right here with the 50 moving average crossing below the 200-day moving average. And, at that time, this wasn't that reliable of a signal either, because although you got this death cross and dumped a little bit, you were already on your way to recovery here before getting that second golden cross, which was actually the bullish signal for this run. Moving on, I do just want to come here. Another perfect example of a golden cross. Now, this is interesting, guys, because this is, in my opinion, a very similar situation that we're in right now, because this is the 2017 bull market right here, this is the top of the 2017 bull market of about 20K. We came all the way down in our bear market, just kind of boinging down here, and then boom, we get this big drop, and then we bottom out right here. And as we consolidate, we actually finally get another rip up. Now, if the bottom is in right now for Bitcoin, this is a very, very similar kind of point in the market, I would say, that we're in right now, right? We had the big drop, and then we kind of just wiggled sideways a little bit, and then boom, we finally broke out and started making some higher highs on the higher time frames. And this is just very similar to where I see us in the market right now. Now, it doesn't mean this is exactly where we are, or we have to expect exactly what happened at this point to happen in today's market, but I kind of see right here as the breakout that we had in our current price action, just a very similar situation. And not only that, we got the breakout here, and that breakout was of about 33, almost 40%, and now we're getting a golden cross. again, very, very, very similar to what we are seeing here. Just similar structure here, guys. You got that big drop down, that sideways consolidation, and then this is the breakout I'm talking about. And if we go ahead and measure this breakout, very, very similar percentages. Again, you can't necessarily just extrapolate all this data from the past and think that everything is going to happen exactly as it has in the past, but just really interesting stuff here. But, you know, this is kind of just why I'm thinking, you know, this is a similar point in the market. You know, as of right here, you have your big move down, your sideways consolidation, and then you have your breakout here, again, of about 30-something%, very similar to what we were seeing in the current price action from today. Let me just try to get that percentage again from that breakout. You know, about 33%. We're up a little more than that, I think, now, but just a very similar point in the market. And then again, you know, right after you get that big move up, you start kind of consolidating, you come up, make a higher high, and now you're getting the golden cross. Again, very, very similar. You come up, you know, you kind of consolidate, you come make a higher high, and now you're getting that golden cross. Just really, really similar stuff here. It's kind of weird. But what happened here, guys, you know, immediately, once again, why you know, you want to take these things not just with a grain of salt, but you just want to make sure you're not immediately expecting upside. You get that golden cross, and although that golden cross did wind up, you know, resulting in another, you know, 176% pump into that fake out bull run, you know, you did actually get an initial dump right on the cross, right? So you actually get the cross, and you actually go ahead and measure it from the top of this wick all the way to the bottom, about a 10% dump, right? So, you know, even though this golden cross played out, it initially started off with a 10% dump. So just be careful of this happening. Now, moving back in time just a little bit more, I just want to take a look at a couple more of these. You know, golden cross. I figure, you know, the more familiar I can get you guys with a bunch of these different golden crosses, again, I think it's this mystical thing. People think, oh, right? You see it in the, you know, you see the article. It's like, Bitcoin golden cross. This is going to get, you know, all the retails like, oh my God, the bull run's back on. Let me come and, you know, buy in. So if I just show you guys a bunch of these different golden crosses and how they actually play out, not how they're portrayed in the media, you know, you guys have a much more realistic expectation. Now, again, it's a bullish signal. More often than not, it does wind up signifying a big trend change, but again, the key word there is big, right? A macro trend change, not an immediate rip to the upside. Now, however, if you look at this golden cross here, you got your cross, and then boom, this was in the middle of a massive run, and we really didn't get much downside here, right? You got the golden cross, and you absolutely continued to rip. So definitely possible to see this happen, but you guys can see, you know, at least the golden crosses that we've been looking at, or the ones that we just went over, you know, a majority of those actually did wind up in an initial move down. So you have to understand anything can happen here. That's a good example of one that just kind of played out in the way that the media portrays these. And then you can see right here, again, golden cross, and then boom, you actually got immediate downside before bouncing and then getting a big dump to the downside, right? So, you know, essentially from this golden cross here, you wound up coming down, then you came up about 8%, and then just came for a giant 28% dump. You know, obviously not indicative of massive upside instantly. Again, right here. Now, obviously, we were coming down from some highs over here, so we were in a macro downtrend at this point. But again, you get a golden cross, immediately results in an absolute dump, and then you get a death cross here before you come down lower and lower. Just keep that in mind, guys. You know, a lot of times they do result in, even the ones that play out, right? This one just kind of gave you an instant moonshot, so that is possible. It does happen. Just keep in mind that not all of these instantly result in massive upside. And as a matter of fact, it's actually, at least again, at the examples we just looked at, much more common that you actually get a move down before you get a move up. So guys, I think that's all the time I got for today's video. I just wanted to cover this golden cross and just kind of show you guys what these have done in the past, because again, I think, like, you know, especially today, all the headlines, all the YouTube videos are, oh my God, golden cross, here we go, the bulls are back. Now, although that may be the case, you just want to remember that these golden crosses, in my opinion, are much better at predicting the longer term trend rather than just acting as a instant buy signal, right? As a matter of fact, if you just wanted to base your decisions off of history, which I don't think you should do, but if you were, it would actually be a better idea to see this golden cross, let it confirm, wait to see if you're going to get that likely move to the downside, and then look to get in before that longer term trend change. So again, you know, in the longer term, I think these are much better signals to indicate longer term trend change. They are actually pretty reliable signals in general, but I think the way that they're actually portrayed you know, in the headlines and all that. I think it is a little bit exaggerated how instantly bullish these things can be. So I just wanted to give you guys this information and show you that, you know, it would be a little bit more likely if you're basing this off of history that we may actually get a little bit of a move to the downside before coming up a little bit. Although this is a bullish signal, it is fun to think about, right? We've been in a bear market for a really long time. So, you know, let the bulls have their fun. But I just want you guys to approach with caution. These are not just instant bull signals. We're going to 100K tomorrow. So there you go. And with all that being said, guys, I think that's all I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, hey. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Mashed out.